if you've sort of been watching my channel over the years or so, I've done quite a lot of videos about lens focal lengths and what you can do with them. And there's one which I didn't cover, and there's a particular reason why, because I don't really like it, but I'm going to do it now for you. And that focal length is, you can see it, that'll come to focus, 50mm. Now 50mm lenses are everywhere, and the history behind the 50mm lens is a bit of a weird one. Everybody calls it a standard lens. It's not really a standard lens. It falls into the category of what you call standard lens, 40 to 50 and 55 in this sort of area. But and people say that it reflects what the human vision sees. Well, that's not true, because the human eye is sort of, if you worked it out, I think that they've done it. They sort of work out where that area of concentration is in the middle. When you look, that sort of field of view equates to 43mm. So a 43mm lens, or 40s, a much more standard representation of the human eye and what that sees. However, how did the 50 get there? Well, when Oscar Barnack was putting together his first, the father of 35mm photography, was putting together his first camera, he had limited lenses to use. I mean, most of the lenses at the time were telescopic lenses or microscopic lenses. And apparently, he sort of went for a 40-ish lens, and it just wasn't good enough. So they built I believe it's a 50mm f 3.5 lens, which is what kicked off the whole thing. If he'd have only had a 40mm lens and it would have worked, we'd be sitting here and I would be talking about 40mm. But yeah, that's happened. And then all of a sudden, obviously, through history, everybody replicating Barnack and creating lenses and similar lenses, the 50 just blew up. It did fall away for a while, because when zoom lenses with consumers sort of came out, the zoom was the big deal, and you didn't get a camera with the prime. You always bought a camera kit lens, was always a zoom. So they sort of fell to the wayside, but they're out there, they're strong. The reason I'm not a fan of 50, it's not quite for me. I've got 43mm lens, I like 40, then I like to go up to 80, and I like to go down to 35. 50 is a bit of a weird one. It's not quite reality. It's brilliant because of what they did with the 50mm lenses. Most 50s are based on a thing called a double gauge construction, and that's the double gauge. I think it was it was based on a telescopic design for telescopes, and that's one of the most studied lens configurations known. So over the years, people have got hold of it, like Zeiss. I think the Summicron, the Leica Summicron's a double gauge lens. So Zeiss have got hold of it, planars, all this sort of business. And it's really been researched. So you've got some astonishingly good lenses. I think you can get like a f 9.5. I'm sure Canon used to do an f1 version, because they've looked at it so much to refine the 50mm lens. You've got all these amazing versions. I mean, nowadays you can pick them up, and 50s are dirt cheap. I mean, you can get all sorts of, an f1.8, and they're very fast. I mean, I'm not knocking them. Well, I sort of am, aren't I? But I mean, they're great lenses to start off with if you don't want to get a zoom, because obviously, they're very affordable, and you get very, very fast ones. So if you shoot film, obviously a 50s pretty much was a standard you'd get with a film camera. If you were buying an SLR, you'd get the 50. Like Pentax, all that, you'd always get a 50 with the film SLRs. And then when you were looking at, like, you want to fast it because you're shooting film. ISO is a slightly different ballgame. Obviously, fastest film you could probably have, you push it up to 3,200 or something. So you wanted a really fast 50, and there are some pretty fast 50mm film lenses. I mean, this is what I've got here is a Minolta f1.4 AF lens for the AF Minoltas, and it's a beautiful piece of glass to look through it. I mean, it's just a wonderful, put that in my face so it focuses, it's a wonderful chunk of glass. And they get better as they sort of, develop. But I mean, for day-to-day photography, I mean, I'm not a fan. 28, 35, 40, skip the 50 bit up to 85 and go from there. I've never really found it. I mean, I know it's heresy. I know millions of people shoot with that lens, shoot on that format in 50mm, but it's never really done it for me for some bizarre reason. Once you shoot with the 43mm or 40mm, it just feels right if you want to do, capture reality. And 50's good for portraits. So obviously, because it's f1.2, you get one f1.4, you can blow the background out. I mean, this is being shot on a 35 f2, but it's got a speed booster on it, so that's giving another stop of light, so the background's f1 or f1.4, I don't know, f1.8 or something. I can't remember. Anyway, I mean, so you can see the sort of effect you get isolating subject out. But yeah, so the 50mm lens, I mean, on a crop camera, it'll be like, what is that, 64, 60 something, I don't know, 60, 70, which is nice sort of lens for portraits again. But I find it really weird. I find 50s very odd for street photography and stuff like that, because it's just, for me, it's just not quite right. And it is interesting. I mean, like, the diagonal on a frame of 35mm film is like 43mm. I mean, the 40 is that beautiful area to sit in, and it feels better. 50, purely because I think Barnack got that 50 on the front of that Leica, and then it just went from there, and it's been accepted as like a standard focal length. But it is weird, because it's not. 45 would be closer, or 40, but now we've got 50. So no, I mean, I've got lots of them. I don't really use them. They're good for interview lenses on if you're doing interview lenses, video interview lenses are great. They're cheap. But no, I mean, I've never been a fan of it. But if you like 50mm, I mean, it could be your focal length of choice. If you're starting out with photography, get one. Then, you know, you can play with them, see what you can do with them, get fast, cheap lenses. And there's some really good ones out there. But for me, I'm just not a fan of it. Anyway, thanks for watching.